Tool's Live in the Sand Festival took place over the weekend in Punta Cana, and it was quite newsworthy for a number of reasons, beginning with the fact that it was Mastodon's first show without Brent Hinds. Obviously, you probably saw that whole announcement last week where he's out of the band, and they had YouTuber Ben Eller filling in his place. I did a whole video on that this morning. I'll put a link to that down below. Aside from that, Primus did a special performance that featured both Danny Carey and their new drummer, John Hoffman. It was John's first show with Primus. CKY performed with their former bassist, Vernon Zaborowski. He was in the band back in the early 2000s. All sorts of cool stuff happened at that event. But when it comes to Tool, the main reason for the event, the entire reason that most people went to this thing, the reaction to their two performances, not so great, because people ponied up thousands of dollars to be at this event. They were promised two unique sets from Tool. They played the first two nights of the event. I think a lot of people were expecting Tool to do, what someone like Metallica does when they are playing two nights in the same city or at the same festival. It is 100% completely different sets each night, but that is not what Tool chose to do. The band repeated 4 songs across each performance. They already didn't have that many songs. I mean, the first night they played 10 songs, second night was 9. Granted, Tool's songs are longer than the average band, but still, 4 repeat songs is almost half of the show. And also, according to Setlist FM, both nights there were additional songs that were on the set list that did not end up getting played. Descending and Chocolate Chip Trip on the first night, Vicarious on night 2. That caused a lot of issues for attendees who began booing the band and shouting "fuck you" to them on the second night when they came out and started playing songs that they had played the night before. One attendee even put up a sign on the window in their room that said "fuck Maynard James Keenan." Needless to say, a lot of people were just very, very disappointed with how this whole thing went down, how Tool handled everything. And now apparently an ad has been circulating on Facebook from a lawyer who seems to be gauging interest in potentially filing a class action lawsuit against the band. Let's take a look at this ad, courtesy of the PRP, and see what it says. Attention Tool in the Sand Festival attendees. Did you pay $4,000 to $10,000 plus for the Tool in the Sand Punta Cana Festival with promises of 2 unique Tool performances? Promises broken. You were promised 2 unique Tool set lists. You paid premium prices, $4,000 plus, based on these promises. The second show repeated approximately 60% of the first night's set list. I don't think 60% is quite accurate. That might be a little bit of an exaggeration. I think it was more like 45%. I think it was, like I said, 4 songs out of the total set list each night. The second performance ended early. You may be entitled to compensation. Our firm is investigating a potential class action lawsuit against the organizers of the Tool in the Sand Festival for potential breach of contract and misrepresentation. Who qualifies? Attended the Tool in the Sand Festival, purchased tickets/packages based on promises of 2 unique performances, experienced the substantially repeated set list on the second night. No fees unless we win. And then there's a little note down here from the attorney. What's his name? Staz Ruzek. Is that how you say that? He says, not only a huge Tool fan, but also a festival attendee who feels your pain and seeks justice for all of those potentially ripped off by a classic bait and switch. Look, I certainly understand the issues. I mean, I'd be pissed too. I've never been to one of these international destination events, but I'm well aware that they can cost astronomical amounts to attend. I mean, even festivals in America cost a ton of money. And I do think that Tool should have played completely different sets. However, I would also argue that technically, they did play unique sets. Only 4 songs each show were the same. 1 different song would have been a unique set, I guess. But I do think the band should have either A, been more clear about exactly what was going to happen, B, not said anything about doing unique sets, and they could have avoided this entire situation, or C, just don't be lazy and play 2 completely different sets regardless of if you advertise it that way or not. And like I mentioned earlier, they even cut songs that they had initially intended to play, so not really sure what happened there. But as far as this lawsuit goes, I certainly am no legal expert, but like I said, I would think the band would argue that the 2 sets were technically unique, so I'm not really sure how far something like that could go. But again, I know nothing about the law. This is just pure speculation, but regardless, it really is a major disappointment because Tool is not really that band that you go to only hear songs that are on the radio. They certainly do have songs that get some airplay from time to time, but they're not that band. They have this rabid, diehard fan base who want to hear it all live, and this was the perfect opportunity to give the fans something they will remember forever in a positive way, not the way that it went down. So let's see what happens. We still have not yet heard anything from the band on all of this. I would not really be surprised if we don't. But Tool is set to kick off their first ever South American tour later this week on Wednesday, I believe. It's crazy to think that they've never done a tour down there, but it is finally happening after all these years. And again, as far as this lawsuit goes, I mean, who knows if it will actually go anywhere, but it really is insane to me that it's even a thing being discussed, especially just days following the band's performance. I believe their second performance at that festival was on Saturday night. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I will absolutely update you if things indeed go any further. But for now, that is all that I got for you. Thanks so much for hanging out. Feel free to drop a like and subscribe below if you feel like it, and I'll see you next time.